So the first two creatives are of initiative, and the last one is an infographic.
How much Seva we have done, right? Yeah. So we'll show the infographic first when we talk about Seva, and then later we'll talk about the initiative of connecting to daily wage laborers.
Okay.
Thank you.
So where are you right now? In Bombay or Delhi?
Namaste, good afternoon, and thank you everyone for joining us for another edition of ICANN Conversation. And today I am lucky enough to be in conversation with Darshak Hathiji. He's the International Director for Art of Living, but that's not his only introduction. He's had a whole wide range of experience in various things like international relation, business, finance, executive trainings, community outreach, and other social and developmental sector programs. He's also a motivational speaker. He's a mentor. He has spoken at several TEDx talks, and he's going to talk to us today about how spirituality turns into seva in the times of a pandemic, like right now. So thank you so much, Darshak Ji, for joining us today. Before we begin, with your permission, I'd like to share a little bit of background about what India COVID Action Network does.
Sure.
So India COVID Action Network was born in the distress that this pandemic has shown to the people of our country, and the communities, the poorest of them, which have been hardest hit by this, have been provided help by facilitators. So what we try and do is we match these facilitators online to the needy people on ground, and we've built a huge connect of people like this trying to do good work. So as of today, we've impacted more than 4 lakh lives. We have fulfilled 5,800 needs. We have got 4,114 warriors for India COVID, and we've got 3,435 NGO partners. And this is across the country. Such fabulous work is happening. So anyone who's listening to us right now who wants to join this, look us up on our social media pages, write to us, and become a part of this brilliant initiative. Darshak Ji, so just before I got here to talk to you, I was sharing a creative on my social media profile, and I was telling you I was with a friend, and she looked at that creative and she told me, oh wow, you're going to be in conversation with Darshak Ji. Look at his picture. He radiates so much of calm and peace. And I have to agree with her. You have a very calming, peaceful, nice aura.
Thank you.
I think that comes with years and years of work in the seva sector, because you've been connected with Art of Living as well, and you've been in this field for over 30 years, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So we would like to know a bit about how you got connected to this. How did you become so spiritual that you have officially become a part of Art of Living, and you also spread this spirituality and positivity wherever you go?
Yeah, Charu, it was way back in '96 when I did my first program. And that was really a life transforming for me, because I could see a lot of change within myself, physically, mentally, emotionally. And you know, it gave me a new perspective to the life. And that inspired me to be a trainer for the Art of Living. And once I became a trainer, then I decided to, you know, devote more time to it and to be full-time with the organization. And then organization chose me to go abroad and, you know, spread this Art of Living programs, conduct the programs. So for many years, I was out of India. I was conducting programs in Europe and Latin America and different countries. Then I came back in India and I started working in the development sectors in the remotest areas of the India, like, you know, in the UPs and Bihar and the interiors of UP and Bihar and the northern part and Jharkhand and all the other places. So it really gave me a perspective of both the life, like, you know, all the Western culture, how the Western mindset is, and, you know, what needs in that part of the world. And so also in India, you know, right up to the last mile connectivity I could have with my activities. And yeah, and that inspired me to, you know, do more and more. And then, of course, so many projects started and various things came up.
I just picked up a very interesting that thing that you have just said. The West needs something, and our country also needs something. So I would love for you to elaborate on that. So when you work in the West and then there is an entire 180-degree turn and you come and work in the villages of India, how would you compare the two cultures and what the two cultures need the most right now?
So if you've seen the West, they've got a lot of luxuries, a lot of comforts that they've created with their technologies and advancement. But somehow people are not happy. So it was very surprising for me when I went there for the first time, and I realized that even the school teachers are into depressions. And people are, and then that family structure is somehow is missing. So people are looking for that inner solace. And when we come to the India, we see that, yeah, we are struggling with our developments and, our basic needs and everything. But if you go to the villages, people are happy somehow. Even if they have that little rotis, वो अपनी रोटी के साथ दूसरों के साथ बांट के खाते हैं. So those values are still there, alive in our culture, and which I could not see so much there. Of course, there was so much of discipline and respect for each other. So I thought that we can learn from both these cultures, East and West, and we see that what we can offer to the world, the best of the technology, whether it is a technology for developments, the outer development as well as the inner development, and that is where the spirituality comes into the picture. If you're going to ask me the next question,
Yes,
I suppose.
yes, I liked what you said. You don't need a lot to be happy. Sometimes people have very little in terms of material comforts and worldly comforts, and yet they are very happy. And in the West, where they have everything from nice houses to cars to all kinds of material comfort, the happiness factor is missing. And I think that's what we all need to learn in life. And you're absolutely right. That's where spirituality comes in, and that's what even I would like to know more about, because it's not about having more; it's about being more. And how can this generation achieve that? That's the big question for India. Because once we get there, there's no stopping us.
True. So first of all, Charu, I would like to differentiate the spirituality with the religion. So often people misunderstand that.
Yeah.
I say that spirituality is what? It's a systematic study of yourself.
Yes.
हम जिसको हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, आत्मा का अध्ययन. So nowhere we have been taught that we are not just the matter, but we are also spirit. And the spirit has its own quality, is of love and compassion and sincerity and joy and empathy to the others. How do we express these qualities in our life? Because being a child, we were all born with it, but somehow as we grow in our lives, we started losing these values in our life. So spirituality is to connect with that core of your being and exhibiting those values, putting it into practice in your life. And I think this is what is needed nowadays. Whether it is the youth or people are जो गांव में काम करते हैं, जो किसान है या head of the countries or the corporate sectors, everywhere you see that people are struggling. There's so much of struggle in their life, and all kind of physical challenges that we have, or the mental challenges or emotional. Now, if the COVID it's a classic example. If people have to sit at home for a couple of days, it becomes so impossible for them. They become so anxious and worried, and so many things are happening. Yeah? And that is where you need that understanding, that training of who you are and how do you train your body and your mind and your spirit. So then you can
really need to elaborate more on that. But again, I've loved this distinction you have made, because I agree with you. You're absolutely right. Spirituality is something which is above all religions. It is what connects humanity.
Common in all the religions.
Not just humanity, it connects all beings, whether it is trees or animals or human beings. And somewhere along the way, people have started confusing ritualistic things with being religious or with being spiritual. And that ritualistic things have taken over so much of our time and energy that we've forgotten that true spirituality is above all of that.
True.
But, sir, of course, it's been a long journey for you working in this field, and you've been talking to many, many people. And I'm going to get more of your guidance today so we can use it later on and improve ourselves and our inner happiness. But in this pandemic, we have seen that your entire work has shifted from spirituality to Seva. And there has been a huge impact you have made on the ground. You've done tremendous work for the needy people. You've done a lot of work for the daily wage laborers. And I'm just going to elaborate a bit on that, because as we talk about the darkness that COVID-19 has spread all over the world, there is also a lot of brightness coming to us from various sectors where we see people are being helpful, people are being kind. I think they've tapped into that spiritual side of their personality now, and they just want to be there for others as much as they can. And we'd like to know more about your experience.
So Charu, what happens when people are in distress? They start thinking about something else. So like when the tsunami happened or any other disaster happens, and then suddenly you see that there is so much of humanity. People talk about helping each other. In spirituality, we say that you don't have to wait till the distress or any disasters to happen to show your humanity to the others, right? You can do it otherwise also. Of course, when these things are there, definitely you go and help others, but it is your nature to help others. Yeah. And helping others without any expectation is service. So like COVID happened and you see so many people are suffering. What can you do? Kya kar sakte ho aap unke liye? You can go and just do whatever best you have in your capacities, right? Helping to them. And that's how the service came into the actions. Like, the spiritual, all the spiritual like organizations, not only us, like, but if you see, there are so many non-governmental organizations, so many good, like-minded people, those who want to do something good for the people, they all have come into action to help each other. And of course, it has triggered that humanity, that human aspects of our, ourselves during this time.
We are, for some reason, unable to put out the creative, but I would like to hold it up for people to see. So this is a tremendous, tremendous number of people who've been provided help with relief material, meals, and the number is actually well past 2.5 million when it comes to the number of meals that have been provided. Oh, we got it. Great. Thank you so much. So Darshak ji, we were going through this creative, and this is a creative from your organization. And when we look at the impact that you have had all over the country, it's incredible. How did you manage to reach this large number of people? How did you build up a volunteer base, make sure the logistics are working properly? Because even those basic things have been challenges in a time like this.
True. Charu, we've been doing this since 20 years. The IHV, International Association for Human Values, was started in way back in 96. And since then, and it's like closely working with the Art of Living. So the founder of both the organization is Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, that is a world-renowned spiritual leader. Yeah. And we have a volunteer networks all over the country. You go to the remotest area of Arunachal, Tawang districts, there we have a school, we are running school, or you go to Pulwama and Ladakh and all these northern parts, where you hardly see any people, but still you will see the volunteers reaching out to the people there, or in Kasargod in Kerala and Kutch. So all these places we have a people. We have a physical centers, our trainers are there. So it was very easy for us to connect with, local people. We don't have to send somebody from one place to another place. So that was one of our biggest advantage. And as I said, we have been doing it since so many years. So whenever there is some disaster, so during this COVID, like when we had the Amapan, that the cyclone happened. So parallelly, people were working for that also. Right. Yeah. So it's like you don't have to tell people that, okay, now something has happened and just go and do it, because here the spirituality comes into the pictures. People are so self-motivated, so inspired, that whenever there is a situation, and otherwise also they want to go and help people. So the practices that we do, the Art of Living is teaching, which basically makes you happy and stress-free. And we have experienced that when people are happy and stress-free, naturally they want to help others. Otherwise, you're so caught up with your own little issues that you don't even think about others. You're not sensitive, you're not empathetic to others.
And I think when we help others, we are more able and equipped to deal with our own issues. We start understanding how trivial in most matters they are going to be. if we just contribute to making the world a better place, we forget about the small things that bother us. You've spoken
That will
about
bring
the
a lot of merit
cyclone,
to you.
Amphan, Darshakji, but also you have done a lot of work during the tsunami, and that's also work which we have known about, we've read about. And it's one thing to provide help when everything is normal in the world, because you've been doing it for very long, for decades, in fact 20 years. But the dynamics change when disaster strikes. So there is a lot of work that you're doing in the field of disaster management as well, whether it is providing relief, providing any sort of rescue. In Amphan also you must have seen it. Even in COVID, actually, it's very dangerous to step out. And the same for the tsunami, because the pictures that we saw of the tsunami hit areas were dismal. So it's incredible to imagine how strong mentally all your volunteers are, because they manage to go out when everybody wants to just sit at home and provide help to the world. So I would love for you to talk a little more about that and all the work that happened after the tsunami hit us.
Charu, here the practice helps, the practice that we are doing, our yoga and breathing techniques and meditations and Sudarshana Kriya, it gives you a lot of inner strength, physical and mental. I tell you, more than thousands of volunteers are right now working on ground, but none of them have experienced any ailments or any, issue with the COVID. Like, none of them are like positive, but, so the thing is, their immune system is so strong. So it's like for 2 months, 3 months. And I tell you, I give you just an example, like in Bombay, we have supplied more than 75,000 ration kits. Now, one ration kit is about 10 kilos. Every day we get the trucks. There are 100 or maybe more than 100, 150 people who are working, and they are physically lifting this material. So if you see this material, which is like more than 700, 800 tons of materials, which they are distributing and transporting to different parts of the city. And all this is done since last 3 months by our force of volunteers.
Yeah.
So this is dedication, and it's, as I say, it is a voluntary activity. They are not paid for it. Of course, we take care of them and then we give them honorariums and everything, but it is their dedication to the people. And like you said, that whenever there is a disaster, there are two parts to it. One is like you need to give them some immediate relief, like all the they have a physical traumas, like you supply them all the materials and whatever they need in the basic necessity. Second thing is a mental trauma, which comes after the disaster is over. So like tsunami happened, and then people were completely displaced. We started a school in Nagapattinam, which we are running till date. Right? So you need to have that sustainability in your action. It's not just like when something happens and you just go and give them some relief, of course, which everybody cannot do. But if you are there with your force of volunteers, and when you really want to help people in transforming their life, then you do it on a sustainable basis. It's not just for that particular days or couple of days or couple of months, but till they are back to the normal life.
Back to the normal lives. And yes, you had mentioned a term, post-pandemic disaster management. And you stressed on how important disaster management is going to be after everything is all right. So that rehabilitation is actually as important as managing the disaster then and there. So even going ahead for our country, right now we are just managing to take care of the basics. We are making sure people are fed, or they have their medicines, or their medical needs are urgently met. But I think the main challenges will come when we start rehabilitating, we start trying to get back to normal after this pandemic. And you've already been working in that field, Darshakji.
Yeah. So we have, as I said, we have already started working, because and the thing is, in India, we have not even reached to the peak.
Yeah.
Still, we are struggling. But parallelly, we have started. So we are working with many state governments, and they are calling us, because when they have this transition camps of all the migrant workers, and when they are there, and they are, definitely they are in distress. So also our health workers, those who are in the front line, like all our police forces and Anganwadi workers. So immediately we started giving them a trauma relief programs, which can boost up their immune systems and which can help them to, cope up with these challenges. because they are constantly with those positive patients and this negativity. So even their so for an example, doctors, even the doctors, when we had an interaction with the doctor, when Shishi had an interaction with the doctors, they said even we are stressed. We are afraid that what is going to happen with us tomorrow, we may also get affected.
Yes.
So these people, they need something to, take care of their own minds and their own body. उनको भी एक थोड़ा सा relief चाहिए. So immediately we started work with all these people, be it a police force and doctors and health workers and everybody. So this is parallelly happening. But once everything gets settled down and, then again, we need to start the rehab work. Because I see that this is a crisis, but in crisis also there is a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
And probably we need to look into that opportunity. Otherwise, we are bogged down with the crisis, or वो एक इतना trauma, anxiety हमारे मन में हो जाएगा कि अभी ना everything is so dark and मेरा इतना बड़ा नुकसान हो गया है, economically also it is a big challenge for everyone.
Yeah.
But if we see that from the same crisis, we can create something beautiful. We have to reorient ourselves. I say like the nature has created press a pause button on us.
Absolutely. And now we have to
The reboot
reset
button.
life.
We have to reboot ourselves.
Yeah, we have to reboot ourselves. And since you were talking about ecology, I like to say this, even economy begins with eco. So till we don't take care of our ecology, it's very difficult for humankind to sustain, forget progress. And you have done a lot of work to preserve our ecology. And you are also a green warrior. And that's a subject which is very close to my heart. And we've also seen how this pandemic has been a boon for nature. When humans are locked indoors, nature is thriving, and our world is getting back to normal. Pollution levels are lower, fish are coming back to our oceans, closer to the shores. So that's a beauty for everyone to see. But we need to focus more on this. We need to make sure we maintain this even when we get back to normal.
Interestingly, the founder, Sri Ravi Shankar ji, suggested something very beautiful. He said that we can see a lot of changes now in the nature, like you suggested. That he said, I would recommend that every year we should have a systematic lockdown for a week. It gives like nature to recuperate itself, and people to sit and think that, okay, what am I doing? And then, they become more conscious about the nature. Yeah. So I think it's up to us. Like, this is also a very good lesson for every human being to take care of the nature.
Many lessons, in fact, we have learned that we can survive in much lesser than we thought we needed, because lockdown showed us that we don't need to go as often to buy even groceries. We can manage with very limited means. We've become more independent, and this is also something that I wanted to talk to you about, Darshakji, because when we were growing up, or when we live our normal lives, even we have got so much of reliance on people around us. We make all plans with other people. So if I want to go out in the evening, I want to meet friends, and that makes me feel better. If I want to play a sport, I want to play in my park so I can meet more friends. So but suddenly lockdown showed us that we have to be more and more self-reliant. We have to become more independent. We have to learn to look within ourselves to find that peace, to find comfort. It's not always possible to meet another human being, and that has been a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, definitely. So we are not used to, because our mind is so much outward in all the other activities, and suddenly you see that you have nothing to do. You're just sitting at home. You have your best clothes and best car and everything, but you can't use it. So this is like moving inward, connecting to yourself. So I said that lock down and lock in. Both goes together. So when you lock in, and then you realize that, okay, what am I doing? How I was living my life. So ये सारी चीजें जो मैं समझता था, it was like, without this I cannot live my life. I realized that, okay, I can be without them, and I can still be happy. So how to be happy within yourself? Probably that's the biggest lesson that lockdown has given us.
And since we have you with us, it makes sense to get some of these tips now from you, Darshak ji, because you're absolutely right. What is important is to be happy. A big fancy car doesn't make us happy. A nice meal in a restaurant doesn't make us happy. It is us who can make ourselves happy, and it can be done with very little. So, this is going to benefit me greatly, but also benefit everyone who's listening to us. So, if someone gets really, really worked up right now, or they feel a lot of anxiety, what is it that they can do to calm themselves down immediately?
First of all, use your breath, because every emotion that you experience in your mind has a corresponding effect on your breath. Yeah. So, say for an example, when you are angry, you breathe differently. When you are upset, you breathe differently. So far, it's like a one-way traffic. Your emotions are affecting to your breath, but you can also affect your emotion through your breath. When you make it more systematic, more rhythmic, when you have a control on your breath. Say for an example, if I just ask you to just sit and, okay, now at this moment, I have a lot of anxiety in my mind. Just take a long and deep breath and breathe out. As slowly as possible from your mouth or from your nose also. It's both are fine. Couple of long deep breath in and out, and you see that immediately you feel little calmness, tranquility in your mind. Yeah? So using your breath, and then with your breath, as your mind becomes more relaxed, more calm, you are shifting your mind to a different levels, where your mind is more collective, more calm, and the meditation happens. So many people find it very difficult to, I cannot sit and so many thoughts are coming. So there is a way to meditate. And that's why the founder of the organization is guiding meditation since last 3 months, every day morning, 11:30 and 12 o'clock, and the evening, 7, 8 o'clock. And all over the world, like more than 2 to 3 million people are doing meditation online. And we are conducting this program, online meditation programs all over the world. All our trainers, we got more than 35,000 trainers who are conducting workshops for the corporates, for the doctors, and various sections of the society. So breathing and meditation can help you to come out of these anxieties which you are experiencing right now, or any kind of phobia that you have in your mind. You can take care of all these things with these practices. And these are all, practices which connects to yourself. That's what, the spiritual, it's like a tools of the spirituality.
Yeah. Breathing is very important. But if we should expand a little bit on this. Sometimes when we sit and we breathe and we think we're going to clear our heads, at least for the younger generation, the millennials, people who are still in college, they find it very difficult to clear their heads of thought. How important is that, Darshak ji, to find peace? Is it very important to clear your head of all thoughts? How does that work technically?
So I see that this young generations have a lot of challenges. Like I give an example. When last year I was in USA and I was driving on a highway, and suddenly I saw a big board. Are you experiencing FOMO? And I tell you, till that date, I've never thought about what is FOMO.
The word itself.
And I looked into it and I realized, oh, there are so many such phobias like FOMO and FOBO and FOGI and MOMO. So as our younger generation is more adaptable to the different kind of life set. It's like they have the real life and they have the virtual life, which is very much connected with the social media, and that is where they create a lot of phobias. Yeah, I see that somebody has a very nice profile, but I don't know whether it's a real profile or not. But I see it as a real, and then I start comparing myself and then judging myself. So I have all the problems in my real life. So also now it is in a virtual life. Yeah. And here you need understanding about yourself. When you understand yourself, and that gives you a confidence within yourself. It develops your self-esteem. a confidence within yourself that, okay, if there are some challenges in my life, I can handle it. See, one more issue with the young generation is a suicidal tendency.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to handle their emotions.
Mm.
So emotional management is something very big. And recently we were discussing with the professors of the US universities, and one of the professors shared something very beautiful. He said, which is the most popular class in my university? How to make friends. So people are coming from different backgrounds and nationality and religion. We have got more than 50,000 students, and they feel so lonely when they come there, and they don't know how to make friends.
Right.
Now, this is so common. Like being a child, हम तो किसी से भी जाके बात कर लेते थे, दोस्त बना लेते थे. कौन सी बड़ी बात थी? आज ये हो गया कि मुझे दोस्त कैसे बनाना, उसके लिए मुझे classes लेने पड़ रहे. You see that? So somehow, we are so disconnected with the reality. And here you need, it's like when you connect to yourself, it becomes so easy to communicate with others. Yeah? Because you're so natural, so relaxed, so stress-free, and you can just go and, open up the dialogues. You can break that ice, and it becomes so easy to connect with the people. And this is what is needed right now in the society. Otherwise, you see this rift in the families, in the societies, between the cultures and religion, between the nations also. So we said that spirituality gives you this understanding to come together and realize that we are anyway connected to each other. There is no difference. On one level, we all are connected. And that inspire you to do something for the others. Somebody is suffering, maybe I don't know them. Okay, they are not in my relation, but I can still show my care for them. I may not have any concern with them, but I can show my care for them. I can go and help them. So this is the basis of, a good, healthy society.
Yeah. And the most important thing you have said right now, and that is standing out for me, is that you need to find acceptance of yourself the way you are, instead of falling prey to everything that you see around you in the online world, maybe in the magazines, these unrealistic expectations we have of ourselves, how we look, what we eat, how we live, where we go, because the world which is shown to us in the virtual arena is it's not the real world. We all know it, it's the virtual world, yet we take so much back from it into a real world that we start feeling inadequate, and we have to learn the basics again. And but this could be an opportunity also again, Darshak ji, because one more thing you have said to me, which I want you to elaborate on now, is that we can use this time to create a new world order. So everywhere that we have gone wrong, every mistake that we have made in the past, we have a chance to correct ourselves, and we can utilize this time.
Yeah.
What is the new world order, Darshak ji?
This is the new world order where people are more empathetic to each other, more understanding, more friendly to each other. They look for, a creation which is, I would say, this one thing is exploitation of nature, and second thing is a conscious consumption. So I'm taking care of me, my family, so also my extended family and the nature, the world at large. Yeah, I know that it's all connected with each other. Say for an example, now the environment, this small little insect, I won't even say the insect, the virus, which you can't see with the naked eyes, which has put the entire world on the standstill.
Yeah.
So understand that everything is so interconnected with each other. And if we don't take care of it, then know that somewhere it is going to affect us. And maybe there is some theory or what, it is a man-made and it is not something natural or something, whatever has happened, but our greed can create problem for so many people.
I've
the
just
new world order is what?
Funny analogy has struck me.
People are more sensitive, sensible to each other, so also with the ecology, and create a better society.
Absolutely. We really need that. New world order must be everyone's priority the world over. And when you were talking about the new world order, just a very interesting analogy struck me. I'm a big Disney fan. So I've grown up on a diet of Disney movies. And in The Lion King, there is this line. They talk about the circle of life and say how the lion should not feel superior because when he dies, he becomes the fertilizer which nourishes the plants which the deer eat, which the lion hunts. So we're all connected. It doesn't mean how, doesn't matter how strong we feel today or how important we feel, but the circle of life treats everyone equally. And we have to give that respect to get that respect, and only then we can take care of each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh, Nashikji, you've also done a lot of work in the field of CSR. And CSR is something which is very required in the world right now because any kind of service, any kind of responsibility anyone feels to help the needy today is essential. But there is also something called as the ISR. So moving from the corporate social responsibility to ISR, the individual social responsibility. And how does that work, especially during a pandemic? Because we all need to look within ourselves and do our bit for the world now.
Yeah, so ISR is already happening. As I said, no. So whenever there is a distress, people want to help because they feel that other people are suffering and I should go and do something. Yeah. So voluntarily they do something. But you can do it otherwise also. So nowadays, what happens in the corporate sectors, they are encouraging their employees to give their volunteer hours. And they can choose any of the activity which they would like to do, whether it is a tree plantation or educating others. And when they contribute something with their volunteer hours, so also with the out of the salary, so the corporate, they match with it, right? That okay, we are giving so much, then we will also put from our side. So they are encouraging, and it was very like this is where the ISR comes into the individual social responsibility. So I was talking to somebody in the HR department in one of the big organization. I said that, why do you encourage your people? So they said that, it is very interesting because our is a multinational organization and people come from different parts of the world. Now, they are working in their own department, but somehow there is a disconnect. So we want them to open up their heart and be empathetic to each other. And how do they do this? Of course, we conduct some HR programs for them, but we encourage them to go and do the voluntary service outside. So they also feel connected with the society. It's a very good thing. And here I would like to say that the founder of the organization, again, I'm going back to him. He said something very visible. For a healthy society, you need three things. He said that your business should be sustainable. So he said that socialize your business. And when you say socializing the business means, if you are not taking care of the society, which is your customer, then you will not have a sustainable business. So you have to take care of the society. And how do you take care of the society? You encourage your own people, you give your own charity. So it is CSR and ISR both. Right? And then he said that spiritualize the religion and secularize the religion and spiritualize the politics. Because these are the three dimensions of the life, of the society, politics and business and religion. Yes. And we need a transformation in all these three levels. So nowadays also, because it is also relevant, because we are working with, in some states and we see that के कुछ लोग जो relief material मिलता है उसमें भी corruption करते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि वो values नहीं है ना. जब values नहीं है तो आप उस चीज के अंदर भी सोचोगे कि मेरा फायदा कैसा हो जाएगा, है ना? तो वो लीडर्स जो है सोसाइटी के, दे नीड टू हैव दैट स्पिरिचुअल बेंट ऑफ माइंड. इसको एक वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर के साथ भी आप जोड़ सकते हो, या एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के साथ भी आप जोड़ सकते हो कि हमें इस तरह का एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन चाहिए जिससे हमें ऐसे कोई भी चैलेंजेस आए, एक तो हम इंडिविजुअल को इतना स्ट्रांग बना सके, यस आई कैन फेस ऑल द चैलेंजेस, आई कैन हेल्प आउट टू अदर्स, एंड आई कैन कम आउट ऑफ इट with more force, more valor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I very much agree to it. It's that ISR is very much needed right now. And here the spirituality again can help a lot.
Right. Only spirituality actually makes you realize that everything's bigger than just yourself. And as you said, that there are instances where people resort to corruption even at a time like this. When
Absolutely.
on the other end of the spectrum, there are people who are giving up everything they have
True.
only to do seva, only to contribute and to help people. So we really need to work on that. Darshakji, you have been working on a lot of causes, and each and every one of these causes is something that we can pick up and talk about at length. But I would like to tell everybody about one particular cause that you are working on for the daily wage workers. We can talk a little more about that, and then you can tell us about the other things that you're doing and which one is your favorite right now, and which one do you think we all need to focus more of our energies on right now.
So I tell you, Charu, when we had our first lockdown, that was a 1 day lockdown, you know, Janta curfew. We said, like, you remember the 22nd of March?
I'll
And
never forget that day.
that day,
Even if I live to be 100, I'll never forget that day.
that day onward, I was sitting with Shri Shri Ravi Shankar ji, and he said that this is not going to be for a day. This will continue for many more days. And the most affected people will be the migrant laborers because they will lose their job. So they will
He
be
said
able
it
to
then.
sustain for a few days, then they will have a problems. And most of these laborers are like migrants. They are coming from different states, and they are working in the big cities. They are contributing in so many ways, you know, in industries, in, you know, they are rickshaw pullers, and they are hawkers, and doing various other things. They are into constructions. And actually it happened, you know. So he said that immediately we need to start something for them. On the 23rd, I think we were the first organization to start this activity. I stand with the daily wage earners. And then we saw that we need to make it, you know, really big. And so then more and more, you know, organizations can join, corporates can join. So we are closely working with the Bollywood, our film industry. So the film industry associations and a lot of celebrities, they came and they joined hand with us. They said, okay, we will help you to promote this and we'll also contribute to this. So I would really like to thank them. And in just 2 days time, we could create a big, you know, campaign out of it. And it became like a talk of the town. And then so many corporates started approaching, said, what you guys are doing and why you need to do this. I said, look, this is what is happening. And then actually this news started coming that, oh, so many workers are stuck in Delhi, and probably you would have seen कि वो एक जो migration हो रहा था वहाँ पे, you know, on the first phase of lockdown. So it also in Kerala, in Bombay, in Gujarat, because these workers wanted to go back. They were panicking, like, you know, कि हमको यहाँ पे job नहीं है, and this pandemic, we don't know what it is, and then we want to go back. So there was a struggle, like the government wanted to hold them back, and they were out of job. And then people really don't know what to do because it was such a unique situation. So we started with this ration kit. I said, okay, you hold on till government takes care of it, your transportation or whatever, and we will give you the ration. So immediately we put all our volunteers into action. I said, okay, go and supply ration kits to these people, and if they want, you know, cook food, then we supply the cook food. We help government to set up a community kitchens in many places. You know, immediately a kitchen chalu karke unko at least khana, because the food is the first necessity, right? And then उसी वक्त उनको थोड़ा सा एक awareness भी करना शुरू कर दिया कि भाई, are you positive or not? How do you know you are positive? So we started playing the role of, like, you know, a policing, the social policing, you know, helping the governments to know that, okay, यहाँ पे कुछ हमें ऐसे symptoms मिल रहे हैं because when we are distributing. So you have to look into it. So everything, the whole situation was so new for the state government and all the other machinery. So here we become like a, you know, that link to help and to connect with them with the, you know, the health departments and the state governments, and doing various things. And here, then, as I said, that many corporates, they came into the picture, they started donating. Then we got support from internationally also on this region. And then also they wanted some, you know, the PPE kits and masks and sanitizers and medicines. So all of this, you know, we supply to them. And at the time of migration also, we helped them because it was very difficult and very challenging because buses बहुत कम होते थे, train बहुत कम है, and there are so many people who want to go back. So then again, our volunteers, they hired the buses in Haryana and in Punjab and different parts of the country. Said, okay, fine, we will put you into the bus and we'll give you the food, and then you can go back to your state. So helping out to this migrant labor is still going on because the challenge is there. And now what we are doing is we are connecting them with the industry. So like जैसे कुछ लेबर से 7 लाख लेबर अब जैसे उड़ीसा में चले गए, अब वो वहां पे तो इशू हो गया, they are out of job. So we are approaching to the industry and I said, look, if you can just hire them, on a temporary basis, so at least they get some job. So we are giving them that connectivity with the industry. Also immediately उनको कोई skill development करना है, so then we are doing that skill development, so at least they can be employable. And this will continue to do later on also, because as I said that this crisis is also an opportunity, and so many new ways, so many new industries will come up, I'm sure, where we will need, a lot of labors. मैं तो एक सिचुएशन ये भी देख रहा हूँ कि आज पूरे वर्ल्ड के अंदर शॉर्टेज है. अगर आप लैटिन अमेरिका जाते हो, यूरोप में जाते हो, वहाँ पे बेसिक चीजें नहीं है. वहाँ पे they don't even have a toilet papers to use, या फिर और चीजें जो है. So India can export it in a big way, and here we can put all our migrant laborers into the action, right? So immediately they get connected with the industry. We can start setting up a new industry. जैसे PP, आप 3 महीने पहले हमारे वहाँ कभी PP बनते नहीं थे. आज we started manufacturing N95 mask and PP. So like that, so many new industries will come up, and we need to train our workforce, put them into industries, so then economically we can bounce back. So this is our larger vision, and we are working closely with so many industry organizations. So also with the migrant labor. I'm also honorary vice president for the All India Migrant Labor Association. We have got more than 800,000 migrant laborers in that, and we are working with Ministry of Labours to support them.
And when I was very closely looking at the creative, Darshak ji, it is very well organized. It's very clear how the delivery will happen. You have tied up with BMC, how much money is going to impact, how many families for how many days. And it's done in a very organized and proper manner. And for those who can contribute to this wonderful cause, I would request you to do that. You can go on Darshak ji's page or on the page of Art of Living, or we've just shared the entire creative in our video as well. So if you're watching this, just pause the video, take a screenshot, and do your bit to help migrant workers, because they have been the hardest hit, and we are all working to make their lives a little bit better. Whatever little we can do, at least to make sure they are well fed and taken care of.
Charu, here I would like to put one more point, emphasize on one more point. When we procure this food grains, we are reaching out to the farmers community. So there are a lot of farmer societies, and they are not able to sell the products. So as we are working with the farmers and we are promoting a lot of organic farming, so these communities are in contact with us. So we buy the products from them, we repackage it. We have our own factories called Shri Shri Tattva. It's a very big, Ayurveda company.
Yes.
And so also they are manufacturing food grains. So with the help of them, it becomes very easy to, source this material and pack it and then provide a very healthy, good, quality products to the people. So it's like a win-win situation. Here we are helping the farmer on one hand, and then also the migrant labor on the other hand.
And sure that everyone who's working on ground, small farmers, small-time businessmen, small-time traders, they are also helped, and they become more and more self-reliant, because the larger transactions are no longer happening. Logistics are still, and this be local, promote local, talk about local has been a movement for you long before it started on a national level right now. You've always been about, yes, exactly. So so that of it, because it's been a movement for you for as long as I can remember, at least. And now the whole country is talking about it, because our Prime Minister has made a call for being vocal for local. And it's beautiful the way everything is coming together, everything is connected, and everyone is trying to do their bit. But Darshakji, that was one big cause that you're working on. I would also like you to briefly touch upon the others that are close to your heart.
So one area that right now I'm focusing on, and I had a couple of meetings for this with the WHO and UNICEF, so also with the UN bodies, is a mental health.
Oh, wow.
And we can see that the mental health is going to be a big challenge after pandemic.
Yes.
And here we can help a lot, because we have been doing it since so many years, since 40 years. And we have this workshop, well-designed workshop, to help people to come out of that mental health issues. Because it depends on your coping skills. So some people, it is very easy to come out of any traumatized situation, but some people, they just go on with it for so many years. And phobia also, like, it's a simple thing that you have to wash your hands, but after some time it becomes like a phobia, compulsive obsessive disorder, and people just go on doing it whether they want it or not. So like this, there will be so many phobias and anxieties and fear psychosis will happen, and we immediately need to do something. So WHO also agreed for this, UN also agreed, and we are reaching out, and with this we can incorporate social distancing, or if there are some stigmas, so that also we can handle with this program. So these programs can be conducted online for the schools, and we already have our schools and we have started this, but in schools and colleges, and so also in the corporate sector, we can offer these programs for the mental health. This is something right now I'm focusing on. Yeah.
You have one more volunteer, Darshakji. So
wonderful. Welcome.
Anything that I can do, I'm very happy to do. And I like the way you put it. Some people are strong on their own. They know how to come out of a trauma or a problem. And some people need just a little bit of help and nudging. And if we can all collectively provide that, there's nothing better. And it's something which is going to become more and more important, because you also touched upon the mental health of youngsters. You talked about suicide as well. I think the term is a post-distress, it's called post-distress depression, because once you're out of the trouble, that's when the real problem hits you, and then you start thinking about it, and then you start suffering more in your head. I think, am I audible?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're
audible. Okay. I thought my internet completely conked off. So we have learned 3 wonderful things from you today. Of course, we have learned breathing techniques, which I would like everyone to try. So when you're feeling unwell, unhappy, anxious, try what Darshakji has taught us. He has also told us about how he's been working on helping daily wage earners, and how we can also contribute. So all you have to do is become a part of this noble cause. We all have to work together to preserve ecology, do our bit, and finally to be a very big issue, and we're all very, very happy to contribute in whichever way we can. Darshakji, let us know you've got a lot of foot soldiers now. Thank you so much for being in conversation today. And ICANN Conversation has been the highlight of lockdown, because there is a lot to learn, there is a lot to understand, and we have the opportunity to meet wonderful personalities such as yourself, and we go back home with lessons that we can keep to make our life better. Thank you so much for your time.
I would like to congratulate India COVID to support all these NGOs and promote their work, highlight their work, so then more and more people get inspired with it. And so keep doing all the good work.
Thank you so much, sir. And then before we sign off for the day, we'd like to end with the India COVID Action Network anthem. It's a beautiful song which shows the wonderful work that India COVID has been doing. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining.
मुश्किल है अनपढ़ी ये कैसी कठिन घड़ी, सहमी सहमी जिंदगी बिखरी बंदगी, मानवता है पुकार रही, दिखाए हम दरिया दिली. I can, you can, we can, India can. I can, you can, we can, India can. हम सब मिल जाएं तो, मिलकर हाथ बटाएं तो, टल जाएगी ये घड़ी, झूमेगी फिर से खुशी. आशा टूटे नहीं, हौसला रूठे नहीं, साथ ये छूटे नहीं, मंजिल दूर नहीं. मानवता है पुकार रही, दिखाए हम दरिया दिली. I can, you can, we can, India can.